Welcome to the Quest for Meaning podcast, where we embark on a journey to answer one of life's biggest questions. What is the meaning of it all? Because when you find meaning, you find happiness. I'm your host, Alistair Haberfield. Join me as we dive deep into the stories, practices, and philosophies that illuminate your path to a more meaningful life. Hello and welcome to today's episode. And the topic today will be focused all around gratitude, and specifically moving from a life fueled with negativity to a life fueled with gratitude and seeing the abundance in the world. So without further ado, let's start. So back quite a few years ago, maybe about 10 years ago, I was living a corporate life as a management consultant. I had basically my whole life was dedicated to my work, so I would travel 4 days a week. I would be away, I'd be on trains, wouldn't have that much time to myself. Basically, I was drinking, going out socializing on the work events, and also basically away on weekends, just seeing friends, which was very alcohol fueled as well. I was stuck in this pattern of where I would always see the most negative thing in any situation. So if there's ever a chance where there could be a positive outcome, so, maybe I'd win this thing, or maybe I'd do really well at this thing, my mind would always be fueled with thoughts of doubt and negativity. And that didn't really stem, in my opinion, didn't stem from my confidence. I was a pretty confident guy, but I just had this negative blade that almost would strike down things in my life. And it wasn't until I met my now ex-partner that I realized basically how negative I was, and she shone a light onto my reactions in certain situations and how I just complain all the time about things. And it was only then I actually started to realize that I did have a problem, and this was severely impacting my life and my outcomes. I did believe, and I do believe, that the mind can shape your reality. And in those situations, I became made aware that I was actually shaping a reality that was not optimum for my life. And I really owe it to her to have been woken up in that sense, to seeing that my life wasn't as negative as I portrayed it, and having these thoughts day in, day out were really to the detriment of me and my life. So the first step I took to shift out of this negativity was something that I didn't really resonate with or thought, yeah, sure, that's going to help, but creating and starting a gratitude journal. So every night before I went to sleep, I would write 10 things that I'm grateful for. So I'm grateful for, I'm thankful for. And I would do that because I was pretty good with making sure I did things. I would do that as gospel basically every evening before bed. But I would really focus on feeling into myself, sitting and feeling into my energy, and saying and writing those affirmations with intent and actually feeling them. And I kept doing that day after day. And at times it did feel like, really, is this actually working? I can't be bothered to do it tonight. But I knew I owed it to myself to just try, and it only takes a couple of minutes. Although there were occasions where I would really struggle to think of something I was grateful for and something that happened in the day that I was grateful for. But I would start to see these themes and these patterns of things I was really grateful for. And that became my fuel and almost fueling me to get out of bed in the morning, or to notice the abundance and the things linked to that I'd written the night before. So it really started to shift me in that direction of gratitude, positivity, and abundance. Once I'd started with the gratitude journal, I'm writing a few things every evening, I really lent into that more. So I started having longer journaling sessions on a particular item. So exploring why I was grateful for that thing in a bit more depth. And I just started journaling more actually and getting my thoughts out on paper. And that's when I started to see negativities come up, and then I could reframe them or explore them a bit more and really just explore my inner depths a bit more. I also listen to more gratitude focused meditations and also those that had affirmations, and that's when I started exploring affirmations some more. So I am, I feel, I think, and really seeing how that reinforced my energy of abundance and gratitude, and noticing the abundance within me, within the world around me, within the universe, within my relationship, and I just noticed this big. It started building and building and became this big shift and wave in my life towards abundance and gratitude. And I also started reading books related to happiness and joy and abundance. And the one that stood out for me is the Book of Joy by the Dalai Lama. And I really started reading that and seeing a new perspective on life and trying to integrate the things that he does and just his worldview. And so that really catalyzed my growth in that direction too. And some more challenges I faced along the way, apart from keeping the habit of doing the gratitude journal every night, was seeing others' negativity and how I could easily, especially work, get sucked into that and not be strong against it. So feeling like my boundaries were not that strong in positive energy. That was something I had to be aware of being sucked into others' negativity. So I was moving away from the stage of me being this negative person, like resonating negativity out, and shifting towards more positivity. But I was still susceptible to that negative energy and could sway with the wind, as it were, in some moments. And so that was a big challenge, was either shifting those conversations towards more positivity or detaching from those situations. And I'd say in the beginning, I probably detached and became avoidant because that's my default conflict style. And I didn't feel strong enough to shift the tide in those situations. But as I got seeing more the abundance and the positivity, I could emanate that more outwards to people and really shift in that direction. The other thing I did realize, so I was drinking alcohol at the time, and I did notice that it was basically drinking alcohol was directly affecting my mood, my whole attitude in life, especially the hangover day, sometimes the day after as I got older. And so I would see how it was like a flick of a switch. The next day I would be so negative, oh, I feel so ill, and it'd just be like, yeah, creating all these negative stories or like anxieties as well from I've done something wrong on the night out and things like that. So I did notice at that point how alcohol was shaping my reality and not in a positive way. And I won't talk about it on this podcast episode, but probably in the next one maybe. That was when I started to question my relationship with alcohol and if it was playing a positive part in my life or not. And there was nothing I really did to combat that apart from trying not to drink as much or drink water in between drinks. But I still kept up drinking and still would go out for meals and nights out and things like that. So fast forwarding more to closer to today, I don't gratitude journal every day. I pick it up when I feel like I'm on a downward, I don't want to say spiral, but a downward shift. Yeah, just recognizing where my energy is and where the broader change is heading in my life. And so that's when I might put those things in place or listen to a more affirmation related meditation. So just become more aware of my energy as a whole, and seeing I'd say I'm less led by the mind now, but seeing how if the mind can shift one way, it can delve me into a bit of a pit. But I've shifted more to living from the heart, which can be less painful and less negative day to day because you tapped into the heart and you're seeing the abundance, you're seeing the joy. But obviously, when you're experiencing heartache, it can go the other way. But seeing how the balancing of the heart and the mind can really help bring you out of the pit of despair, or just help you keep going in the positive way. So if the brain one day is like making you anxious and all these things, like tapping into the heart and really feeling like the strong love you have for being here and the positivity and abundance, and using that to then shift the mind in that direction, and vice versa. So maybe like my heart's really aching like that day, but then bringing myself up into the mind and looking at the strategic view, like this is just one day in my life and beyond, and thinking how this minor thing might not actually really matter in the grand scheme of things. And so using my mind to pull my heart out of that pit of despair as well. So really combining the heart and the mind and to creating this positive abundance wheel that just keeps spinning and spinning higher. And so having this abundant and gratitude mindset and whole body energy now means that broadly day to day I'll have a positive experience on people. I'll be able to positively shift situations and just things start snowballing, catalyzing in a positive direction when you've really tapped into that energy of gratitude and you're just radiating it out, emanating it out. I start to notice how the people I'm interacting with are more positive as well, or we're fueling each other in a positive direction. We bring each other up rather than we tear each other down. And seeing how we're just creating this powerful energy that just emits outwards into the world, rather than this one of just negativity and despair. So, apart from the things I've shared, a big piece of advice I would give, and that's kept me going, is I created a rule for myself that I cannot complain about anything unless I'm doing something about it. And I hold other people accountable to this as well sometimes, and I mention it. And so that means I give myself a bit of permission to moan or complain, and room to do that, as long as it's then taken in a positive direction into action, and actually I'm doing something about it, because that means I'm taking on that energy from the negativity and I'm transmuting it to an action of positivity. I'm going to change this energy, I'm going to change this reality I live in to the positive, so that I don't experience this negativity. And then if I don't care enough to do something about it, then I don't want to take on the energy of the negativity from it and transmute it. I just want to let it go. So if I don't want to change it, then I don't give myself permission to complain and moan about it. I don't give it power in my body. I don't give it energy. And so I just release it. That might be by taking a cold shower and let it flow out, or a cold plunge, or just picturing energy flowing out of me, or just even scrubbing it out, like dusting it off. And so that has been a pivotal thing for me that has stuck throughout my journey, is that mantra of I can't complain about it unless I do something about it. And so that would be one of the main pieces of advice for you if you're trying to shift, is holding yourself accountable to that, as well as using the other tools or trying what tools work for you that I've mentioned, like the gratitude journaling, like meditations with affirmations, or just writing affirmations. And the other bit of advice I would give to myself back at the beginning of the journey is just become aware of your energy overall. This feeling of negativity is probably linked to something in the physical. Maybe you feel a certain pain in your body that's then making you become negative, or it may be linked to external substances that you intake, like alcohol, for example, or just the energy of people that you're around. You might actually not be negative if you're with a certain group of people, whereas others you are. And so become more aware of yourself as an energetic being, and the things that are coming into your energy or leaving your energy throughout the day, and start to see where you can shift and change your life to become a stronger, more magnetic, energetic being. The final parting words I will leave with you are that your mind can shape and create your reality. And so if you have a positive outlook on life and you see the abundance, you see the gratitude, you see the positive energy flowing to you, then that's what your life will be. So what reality do you want? Shift your mindset in that direction. Thanks, and see you next time. This has been another step in the quest for meaning. If you're on this journey too, make sure to follow along and share this episode with someone walking their own path. You can explore more at ourquestformeaning.com. This is your quest. Stay curious, be brave, and keep seeking meaning.